Alright, in this video, we're going to put to rest all this Wing Chun versus boxing. Alright? I'm going to tell you right now, I don't really care what people think. Masters have gotten it wrong. A lot of people have gotten this thing wrong. Okay? This video is the quintessential, end-all, be-all video on the issue of Wing Chun versus boxing. All right? Now, I'm going to say this to you. 5'7", okay? Born and raised during a time when people solve things with their hands. Okay? People solve things with their hands. America wasn't a gun culture, okay, in a rough town. Okay? Those are my credentials. Trained in 9 martial arts, qualified to teach 6 of them from beginning to advanced. Okay? And I am telling you right now, I'm going to give it to you. Put this thing to rest. Okay, here we go. It does depend on who's doing the boxing and who's doing the Wing Chun. That does depend. But I'm going to say this to you. I have almost never seen Wing Chun versus boxing. I've almost never seen Wing Chun versus boxing. What I've seen has been the decent boxers going up against blatant idiots who were standing like this. That's what I've seen. Decent boxers, not great boxers, but decent boxers, going up against idiots, fools, doing like this. And I have seen masters, dare I say grandmasters, doing the same freaking thing. And I won't mention any names because these people are some of the best known people in the world of in the area of Wing Chun. Okay? So let's get right down to it. Now, I'm not saying who would win, but I am saying the fact that every time you turn around, a boxer is beating a Wing Chun artist or a Wing Chun so-called stylist. The fact that that keeps happening says that there's something wrong. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with that. Okay, here we go. How many punches are in Wing Chun? Now, I'm not going to get neurotic with this. I'm not going to get anal with this. All right? I'm not going to do that. All right? So, do not send comments, well, there's 4, well, there's 8, well, there's 20. I don't want to hear that. I'm giving you the general number of punches in boxing and in Wing Chun. The general number of punches, okay? So, in Wing Chun, we have what? We have straight, right? That's 2. We have low, right? That's what? 4, right? We have outside whip, inside whip. That's 6, right? We have outside horizontal. We have inside horizontal. With that, that's 8, right? And we have 9, and we have 10, right? So I'm not including the hammers, So we have what? Maybe 10 punches in Wing Chun, right? Conservatively, 10 punches in Wing Chun. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Right? Let's just say 10 punches in Wing Chun. How many punches do we have in boxing? Right? How many punches, really? Conservatively, how many punches do we have in boxing? We have jab and across, that's 2. We have the hook from both hands, from both sides. I'll give you that. Most of the time, people don't really throw the hooks from the rear, but, you know, I'll give you that. Okay? So we have jab and across. We have the hook and the hook. We have the uppercut and we have the uppercut. We have 6. We have 6 punches in boxing. 10 in Wing Chun, 6 punches in boxing. Okay? All right? Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right, 9, 10. Okay, 10 in Wing Chun, conservatively taking out the hammer, right? Taking it out. We have 6 in boxing, but I feel generous. I feel generous. I'm going to give you even the hybrid punches. So I'll give you the overhand rare or overhand right if you want, if you're orthodox, and the overhand lead. Now I'm feeling generous because most of the time people don't throw the overhand like this. Okay? So I'm feeling generous. I'll give you that, right? And then we have the shovel hook. So I'll throw in the shovel hook. If I throw in the 4 hybrid punches, we have 10 punches from boxing, right? And we have 10 punches from Wing Chun, right? 10 and 10. That's what we have, same amount of punches. In Wing Chun, you have palm strikes. I didn't add them. You have what, there's Chinese names for them, but you have what we call chops in Wing Chun. You have the elbows in Wing Chun. You have the kicks in Wing Chun, right? You have all of these. I didn't even throw them in. I didn't throw in the palm strikes. I didn't throw in the chops. I didn't throw in the elbows. I didn't throw in the kicks. And you still have as many punches in Wing Chun as you have in boxing. Okay. The reason why I say you've never seen Wing Chun going up against boxing really for real are several reasons. One is most of the people are not of the same height and same weight. That usually doesn't happen. Two, the Wing Chun artist is really not going for the eyes. They're not using the B.C.W.C. They're not using the B.C.W.C. They're not using eye strikes. You don't see that, right? The Wing Chun artist is not kicking and they're not grappling. So they're not doing any of these things, and they're usually not of the same size, not of the same height, not of the same weight. Okay? Now, I'm not telling you who would win, because I love boxing. Boxing was the first martial art I trained in, and I've beaten people who trained in all kinds of martial arts using boxing. But the bottom line is this. One, I did not use what you see on television or cable sport boxing. I used basically my brand of street boxing. Okay? But we're not going to go into that. So we have 10 punches for Wing Chun. We have 10 punches for boxing. But we have the palms for Wing Chun. We have the elbow strikes for Wing Chun. We have the kicks for Wing Chun. And we have the chops for Wing Chun. We have all of these things for Wing Chun. Then why does Wing Chun almost always come up second to boxing? Why? Why? Because of the ridiculous, moronic, idiotic adherence to tradition. To tradition. To a tradition that was probably never meant to be adhered to. Okay? That's why. That's why. I'm going to show you something. When we look at the tradition of boxing, what is the tradition of boxing? What is the tradition of boxing? The tradition of boxing is not what you people see on HBO. It's not what you see on HBO. This is not the tradition of boxing. Or this is not the tradition of boxing. Or this is not the tradition of boxing. Or this is not the tradition of boxing. That's not what you get when you first walk in and you're being taught how to punch. That's not what you get when you first walk into the gym. This is what you get when you walk into the gym and you're being taught how to punch. And you're being taught how to step. This is the problem with Wing Chun that you don't have with boxing. When you walk into a gym, in a boxing gym, this is what you're taught. Hands up like this, step forward, step back, pivot. This is what you're taught. This is what you're taught. That's what you're taught when you walk into a gym. I'm going to repeat it. This is what you're taught when you walk into a boxing gym. That's what you're taught. Okay. Now, if that's what you're taught, then the bottom line is, that you have to understand this. That when you start to get better, then what is it that you do? When you start to get better, what is it that you do? Right? When you start to get better, what you end up doing is you start to move. You start to modify. You start to do different things, and you don't stick strictly to this tradition. You don't stick strictly to the tradition because why? The tradition does not allow you to do certain things. You're taught a basic vehicle. How to move from certain positions. That's it. How to move from positions, but better yet, how to punch. So you're taught how to throw a jab from doing this. Right hand from doing that. Jab from doing this. right hand from doing that. Once you get that once you get down the technique, once you're able to generate the power and speed, then you start to move, and you move differently. So the tradition of boxing is not this. That's not the tradition of boxing. No, that's not traditional boxing. No, that's what you see. Traditional boxing, what you were taught when you walk into a gym, is traditional boxing. 1, 2, step, cover, slip, weave. This is what you're taught. That's what you're taught. Let's contrast that with Wing Chun. When you look at Wing Chun, what are you talking about when you look at Wing Chun? You were looking at this kind of thing. 1, 2, 3. You're looking at that. 1, this. That's what you're looking at. That's what you're looking at. 1, 2. That's the problem. You're looking at that. Those particular techniques or those particular stances are designed to help you to learn the execution of certain techniques. That's what it's for. When you are in this position, that you're in that position, being taught how to turn your foot. You're being taught how to generate power. That's what you're being taught, how to generate power. You are not supposed to stay in that every time you throw a punch. Every time you throw a punch, it is not the goal for you to say, okay, wait a minute, I can't throw a punch until I'm in a 70-30 position. Wait a minute, I can't throw a punch until I'm in a 70-30 position. That is not the point. It is not the point for you not to throw a punch until you're here. Okay? This is not the point. All right? So, when you talk about why does Wing Chun not work against boxers, it's because of this idea of tradition. This sticking to tradition. And this sticking to tradition is the biggest reason why Wing Chun has more weapons in boxing but continually loses to boxing. Give you another example. If I am taught to shift my weight from here, if I'm taught to shift my weight from here, shift and shift. If I'm taught to do that, okay, shift and shift. If I'm taught to do that, okay, then what is it that keeps me from having my hands in this position, getting inside, and shifting into a punch, or shifting into a punch, or shifting into a punch? Is that not Wing Chun? Is it not Wing Chun to shift this way? If I'm inside, is it not Wing Chun for me to throw a punch this way, or throw a punch this way, get inside, gain control, and if I want to throw an uppercut, to shift this way? That is not Wing Chun. That is not a Wing Chun concept. Of course it is. But what we keep having are people who've been training Wing Chun for 40 years doing this. That's what we get. Utterly ridiculous. It should be compared to boxing in a sense that there are certain vehicles that you have been given. Certain vehicles you've been given to get you from one place to the next. In other words, stances, positions, to teach you proper execution of a technique. Once you learn that particular execution, it is not for you to only and continually use that particular position in order to use a particular technique. It is simply for you to understand the body mechanics of how to throw a punch. Body mechanics, body mechanics, body mechanics. If you're here, 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 it is easier to show you how to punch to the center from this position, than it is for you to be here and show you, or be in this kind of position and show you to punch to the center. Because your punch may come out this way, may come out that way. All right? So, basically, you're here, you go 1, 2, 3, 1, and whatever, and then you learn to punch to the center because you are square-shouldered. It's easier to do it that way because you're square-shouldered. It is not meant for every time you throw a straight punch, for you to say, well, wait a minute, I'm going to throw a straight punch, so let me just do it from here. This is ridiculous. And that is why. This is why Wing Chun has all the tools to defeat boxing, but is incapable of doing it. The next part, and the last part, because people are waking up, it's going to get noisy here, and I want to make sure that you hear me. When you look at tradition, you look at a certain flow. So when you look at boxing, you're being taught this, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. So step up, punch, and turn this. And then turn here and this. Right? That's what you're taught. But eventually, your hands will start to flow. 1, 2. They start to flow. Almost with a mindless kind of flow. All right? Now, is this boxing? Of course it is. Is that boxing? 1, 2, 3. Is that boxing? Yes. But is this boxing? Is that boxing? Of course it is. Why is it then that one may look at 3 Wing Chun punches? Straight punch, low punch, and an under punch. Okay? Now, they will do this in this position and stand around like this and then go 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, and probably will never throw the body punch. And almost never throw an under punch. Never, right? Okay. Just like you can go 1, 2, 3 in boxing, you certainly should be able to go 1, 2, 3 in Wing Chun. No difference. 1, 2, 3. Let your hands go. Boxing. Wing Chun. 1, 2, 3. Same thing. 1, 1, 1, 2, 3. Same thing. It should be just as free flowing. But what do you have again? You have Wing Chun doing this. Why? You have the outside whip, inside whip. Why not? Why can someone throw a jab in boxing, but you can't throw an outside whip? You can't throw an inside whip. Why not? Why can't you move like here, and just like someone throws a jab, you throw an outside whip? If you're inside, why can't you throw an outside whip, an inside whip, and then an under punch, and then a body punch? Why not? It's all Wing Chun. And then when you get inside, why can't you shift in? Why can't you shift? Same thing. It's the same exact thing. The problem is it's inherent to tradition. And people at the top level of Wing Chun, it's their issue. It's a major issue with this adherence to tradition. Taking vehicles, things that were designed to teach you proper body mechanics, taking them and not discarding them. Stances, positions, in virtually every martial art. And this is why when people talk about their masters and they've been training for 30 years, this is why on the internet, on YouTube, I almost disregard these people. And I disregard them essentially because for 30 years you can be doing something wrong. And for 30 years many people have been doing things wrong. When you were taught a stance in a form, when you were being taught a stance in a kata, when you were being taught these stances and these positions are designed to help you develop proper body mechanics. It is like a canoe that you take from one island to the next. Once you get to that island, then you discard that canoe unless you plan on going back. Okay? It is a vehicle. That's what it's for. So, is Wing Chun better than boxing? Depends on who the Wing Chun artist is. Is boxing better than Wing Chun? Depends on who the boxer is. But the bottom line is, it should not be all the time that a boxer defeats a Wing Chun artist if a Wing Chun artist absolutely knows what they're doing. We have 10 punches for each style, yet, we still don't have kicks for boxing, we don't have eye strikes for boxing, we don't have palm strikes for boxing, we don't have chops for boxing, we don't have any of these things for boxing, yet every time a boxer goes up against a Wing Chun artist, the Wing Chun artist ends up looking like a fool, looking like a blatant idiot. And masters, unfortunately, masters all over YouTube have gotten it absolutely wrong. Masters all over YouTube, grand masters have gotten it absolutely wrong. It is not that Wing Chun is not able to handle other martial arts. It is that Wing Chun has an adherence to tradition that is sickening. It has an adherence to a sticking to tradition that is choking the ability and the potential of Wing Chun. And this is why out of every 100 Wing Chun teachers, you may have 1 or 2 at the most that's qualified to teach it in a way where it will be any good in the streets. I'm Safe Carmen, Fight Camp. Train hard, train smart. See you next video.